The last teaching was a simple definition of spirituality as the practice of changing counterproductive behaviors and attitudes, or attitudes and behaviors. Counterproductive in the sense that they're causing you suffering and misery and causing you to cause other suffering and misery. And I invite you to spend some time thinking about what they might be. I also mentioned that all too often these behaviors and attitudes, this misery and suffering are so normative that we can't see it. It's just our norm. It's how we are. It's how our life is. Or in many cases, it's easier for us to point the finger at others. It's just how the people in my life are. I'm surrounded by jerks. But the beginning of spirituality, of spiritual practice of change, is looking at yourself with a non-judgmental compassion, feeling gently towards yourself, because in the Hebrew Bible, for example, in the book of Exodus and the Ten Commandments, it says, the sins of the parents are visited upon the children to the third and fourth generation. And I, for the longest time, thought this was a terrible teaching until I realized that many of the counterproductive attitudes and behaviors that all of us have are inherited from our parents, got them from their grandparents, got them from their grandparents to the third and fourth generation. And it wasn't because they were wrong or evil or mean or trying to sabotage our lives. They were doing just the best they could. And they were passing on this energy. And so I would like you to imagine the change that we're going to engage in as not sudden and dramatic as breaking with the past. But if you think about all this energy that's built up in your life over the generations that you've been contributing to, but that you inherited as well. And I borrow this idea from another one of my favorite Buddhists, Pema Chodron, as a spinning potter's wheel that everyone's been kicking, making it go faster and faster, and it has an energy of its own. And you can't stop it, because if you try to stop it, your foot's just going to slide off, you're going to fall over, it's going to push back against you. But what you can do is try to stop kicking the wheel. Try to stop adding to the energy. And so for your practice today and in the days to come, I'd like you to do two things to see if you can get in touch with that energy. First, approach your interactions with others mindfully. And by that I mean not on autopilot, not the way they always are, but see if you can watch your energy as you interact with others, particularly people who you find difficult, who you feel are the cause for your suffering and misery. And watch what triggers those feelings in you. And just notice and see if you can name it and follow the story back in your life. And if that's too difficult for you, a second practice is to meditate. It's very simple. Find a quiet place by yourself where you're not going to be interrupted. You either close your eyes or take a gentle gaze somewhere, whichever is more comfortable for you, and you sit in silence. And you'll notice that your mind begins to talk to you with stories. Stories of how things are not okay, not right, they could be better, everything you ought to be doing. And with these stories, you should do two things, or try to do two things. First, notice them. What is the story that your mind's telling you? What is the energy that's driving you to be suffering, to cause misery? And second, practice letting it go. When you hear yourself speaking to yourself, just take a deep breath in and out and let it go. Return to silence and begin again as you train yourself to begin to change.